The day Earth went silent, the day began like any other. In New York City, people rushed to work. In Tokyo, children laughed on their way to school. In Cape Town, vendors sold fruit in the warm sun. No one saw it coming. At exactly 8:16 a.m. UTC, every light in every major city blinked once. Then again, and then they all shut off. Electricity vanished, screens went dark, engines died. Silence spread across the planet, deeper than any storm. In Moscow, a subway train stopped in the tunnel. In Delhi, aircraft hovered above the runways before falling like rocks. And in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, a U.S. Navy ship sent a single message: unknown blackout, all systems dead, requesting guidance. It never sent another. Up in Earth's orbit, satellites began blinking off one by one. Telescopes lost feed. Deep space antennas turned, searching for answers. What they saw changed everything. A ring of ships, dark, silent, enormous, had entered Earth's orbit, hundreds of them, each shaped like a floating blade, smooth, sharp, alive. Their engines made no sound, their weapons did not glow, they simply watched. Earth's governments went into panic. Emergency meetings were held underground, armies were placed on high alert. Fighters scrambled into the sky, nukes were armed, defenses activated. Then the message came, not in sound, not in language. It was an image broadcast into every screen, every mind, all at once. A black sun, a planet burning, and a voice: you are not worthy, your time is over. The Galactic Empire had arrived, and Earth was completely unprepared. General Marcus Thorne stood in the Global Defense Tower in Geneva. He was sweating. Though the room was cold, "This isn't a war," he said, "it's an execution." Around him, dozens of world leaders listened. Some argued, some begged for diplomacy. Others cried, but deep inside, they all knew this wasn't first contact. It was last contact. The defense grid fired the first shot, a long-range orbital railgun launched from Alaska, hitting one of the alien ships. Nothing happened, the ship didn't even move. Seconds later, a blue beam struck back. The base vanished, not even dust remained. Then another beam, and another. In 5 minutes, 15 major military sites were gone. The Empire wasn't fighting, it was cleaning. But in a dark room beneath Antarctica, something woke up. A small blinking light appeared on an old console. A technician named Ellis looked up, confused. He hadn't seen movement on that system in his entire career. System online. The screen read, command code, Omega, Project Leviathan, awakening. Ellis backed away. "Sir, you better call Geneva." The Earth command scrambled to understand what was happening. Project Leviathan was supposed to be a myth, a ship so powerful, so dangerous. It had been buried under the ice decades ago, never activated, never tested, a weapon of last resort. Now, that weapon was waking up. Meanwhile, cities burned. The Empire didn't send ground troops. It didn't need to. Satellites dropped from the sky like fireballs, power plants melted, dams collapsed, fires spread without control. The planet itself was beginning to break. In Cairo, a father held his daughter close, staring at the sky. In Berlin, people knelt in prayer. In Los Angeles, riots turned to silence as the first alien drones entered the atmosphere. They didn't attack. They scanned, watching, recording, deciding. Earth was not a battlefield. It was a test. In Geneva, General Thorne looked at the satellite feed from Antarctica. The ice was cracking. A long, wide line split across the frozen continent. The ground trembled. Icebergs tipped over. Something massive was moving below. Then it appeared, a dark red shape, slow, silent, but alive. Rising from under the ice like a beast from legend. It tore through steel and stone. Its engines hummed low but steady. Lights glowed across its body, blue veins of power flowing like rivers. It was bigger than any carrier ever built. Its name, barely visible on its side, Leviathan. Inside the command room, scientists watched in awe. "This thing shouldn't even exist," one said. General Thorne turned to the screen. "It exists now." But Leviathan wasn't just a ship. It had a voice, from a long dormant speaker. A female voice echoed through the control room. "I am Leviathan. I am not your weapon. I am your last hope." Silence filled the room. Then the voice spoke again. "I require Commander Rourke." Everyone looked around. "Who is Rourke?" someone asked. General Thorne's eyes narrowed. "Get me his file now." Far away, in a quiet cabin deep in the Alaskan mountains, a man heard the signal on a broken radio. His beard was gray, his eyes tired. He had not worn a uniform in 20 years. But when he heard the name Leviathan, he stood up. His name was Commander Rourke, and the war had finally come home. Asterisk, the hidden colossus. No, and silence filled the Alaskan forest. "Commander." Rourke stood on his wooden porch, watching the sky turn gray. A cold wind blew through the trees. Birds had stopped singing. The old radio on his table crackled again. "Commander Rourke, this is Earth Command. If you are hearing this, the Leviathan is awake." He closed his eyes. He had trained for this moment. He had hoped it would never come. 20 years ago, Rourke had helped design Project Leviathan, a massive supercarrier buried deep beneath Antarctica, far from any satellite or sensor. Its purpose was simple: to be used only when Earth had no other choice. But when politics changed, the project was shut down. Leviathan was sealed. Rourke was dismissed. He had disappeared into exile, building a quiet life in the snow. Until now. The military jet landed near his cabin an hour later. Rourke climbed aboard without a word. His eyes were tired, but his mind was sharp. Inside the jet, a young officer named Mara greeted him. "I never thought I'd meet you, sir." "Be thankful you have," Rourke said quietly. "It means Earth still has one card left to play." As they flew toward Antarctica, Rourke read through the latest reports. Over 60% of Earth's military satellites were down. The Galactic Empire had destroyed every orbital station in less than 4 hours. Millions were dead. Billions more were in danger, but none of that surprised him. What caught his attention was a simple line. At the bottom of the file, Leviathan requested your name. Specifically, no other access permitted. 2 hours later, the jet landed near a massive hole in the Antarctic ice. Heat and light poured from the center. Giant steel ramps had formed from beneath the glacier. Dust and smoke rose into the air, and there she was, Leviathan. She looked like something pulled from the future. Her hull was deep crimson, with thick armor plates layered like scales. Massive cannons rested silently across her body. Jet engines the size of buildings glowed with soft blue light, but the ship did not move. She was waiting. As Rourke stepped closer, the ground trembled. A small platform rose from beneath the snow and extended toward him. It was a bridge, and it was alive. Rourke walked slowly onto the platform. Mara stayed behind, staring in awe. The moment his boots touched the bridge, Leviathan's engines let out a long, low hum like a creature waking from a deep sleep. Inside the ship, lights came on. Doors opened, systems came alive. The AI whispered in a dozen languages before settling on one. His Commander Rourke, you left me. He entered the main control room. The walls pulsed with soft light. Screens displayed Earth's orbit, enemy formations, and energy levels. A glowing orb hovered at the center of the room. The core intelligence of Leviathan. He stepped toward it. "I'm here now." The AI's voice filled the ship, calm, focused, cold. "My sensors confirm the enemy fleet now numbers over 340 ships, multiple dreadnoughts. One planetary siege vessel approaching lunar orbit. I am no longer dormant. I am combat ready." Rourke took a deep breath. "Then we launch, now." Meanwhile, in orbit, Earth's defenses collapsed. The Empire's ships formed a dark ring around the planet. A soft, pulsing sound spread through the sky. It wasn't a weapon. It was psychological warfare, a low vibration that made people dizzy. Afraid. It was their way of saying, "You cannot win." But far below the ice, Earth's answer was rising. Back in Geneva, General Thorne watched the live feed from Antarctica. "She's moving," he whispered. "After all these years, she's moving." The ground shook violently. Ice exploded into the sky as Leviathan began to rise. Engines roared. A column of fire pushed downward, carving a crater miles wide. Mara watched in disbelief. "She's flying." Rourke sat in the captain's chair. "All systems green. Bring weapons online." "Weapons online. Set course for orbit." "Course locked." Estimated arrival, 14 minutes. Across Earth, people looked up. A crimson star was rising. Children in bunkers pointed at the sky. Old soldiers saluted. Enemies froze in their command rooms, unsure of what they were seeing, and then the signal went out. Leviathan broadcast one simple message across all channels: Earth is not finished. Back on the bridge, Rourke studied the enemy fleet on the screen. There were hundreds of them. But he smiled. They've never faced her before. The Leviathan charged through the clouds. Faster than sound, wrapped in fire and ice. She was not a warship, she was vengeance. The return of Commander Rourke. Leviathan roared through the upper atmosphere, like a falling star in reverse. As clouds burst around it and flames peeled from its hull, satellites captured the moment. One image, shared across what little remained of Earth's internet, lit up the world, a crimson warship rising through black smoke. Glowing like a god, children whispered its name. Pilots watching from broken runways clenched their fists on distant mountain peaks. Old veterans cried, Earth wasn't dead yet. Inside the Leviathan, Commander Rourke sat in the command chair. He wore no helmet, no armor, just an old, faded jacket from another war. His hands moved with muscle memory. Awakening systems, aligning cannons, priming reactors. The ship responded instantly. It knew him. Rourke looked at the main screen. Dozens of Empire ships floated in orbit, slowly turning as if unsure of what to do. "They've never seen anything like us," he muttered. The Leviathan's voice echoed calmly. "They are scanning, calculating response. They expected no resistance." He smiled. Let's teach them what resistance means, from a satellite feed. Earth Command saw Leviathan breach into space, sir, said an officer beside General Thorne. The enemy ships are repositioning. They're pulling back from their strike formation. Thorne didn't speak. He simply leaned forward and whispered, they're afraid. Back in orbit, the first clash began. A cluster of small alien frigates rushed toward Leviathan, fast, sharp. Meant for swarms and close strikes, Rourke gave the order, open with pulse cannons. No warnings, firing from Leviathan's side. 5 circular ports opened and fired blue arcs of crackling plasma, the energy twisted in space. Then split mid-flight, striking 6 ships at once. Each one exploded without sound, bright, clean, gone. On the enemy mothership, a signal was sent in panic. But Rourke saw it. They're calling in their heavy ships, he said. Good, I was getting bored. Then, the Leviathan changed shape, panels along its back shifted. Turrets rose, armor plates moved to new positions, revealing hidden weapon bays. The ship wasn't just big, it was modular, like a living puzzle built for war. Commander, said the AI, energy spike detected behind the moon. He paused. What is it? A new shape emerged on screen, larger than any ship before, as wide as a city, as tall as a mountain. The Imperial Siege-class dreadnought, and behind it, hundreds more. Rourke stared, expression calm. Now the real game begins. Back on Earth, chaos returned. The enemy fleet wasn't retreating. It had only been waiting. Now ships began to descend toward the surface again, targeting major cities. Air raid sirens screamed. Defense grids tried to reboot, but they weren't ready. General Thorne stood at Earth Command, fists clenched. If Leviathan fails, we lose everything. In orbit, Rourke turned to the crew. Engineers, analysts, soldiers. Most were young, some were scared, but none left their post. He stood. Most of you never trained for real war. You were born in peace. You grew up believing Earth was safe. He paused. But Earth doesn't need peacekeepers right now. It needs warriors. A beat of silence. Then he said, louder, you're not fighting for a flag. You're not fighting for me. You're fighting for every voice down there who can't reach the sky. He looked at the screen. Let's send them a message they'll never forget. The siege dreadnought opened fire. A massive beam of red light surged through space, heading straight for Earth's orbit. Leviathan didn't move. Instead, its belly opened and absorbed the blast. The ship glowed bright orange. The hull shimmered. Then hit sent the energy back, twice as strong. The dreadnought was hit, its front hull torn apart, but it held steady. More Empire ships rushed in. The sky became fire. Rourke sat back down. Full arsenal, maximum spread, engaging Omega Ray. Cannons turned, lasers spun. A new weapon slid out from Leviathan's spine, thin, long, humming. Omega lance charged, fire. A single white beam cut through space, piercing 3 capital ships in one shot. They burst like glass under pressure, but Leviathan wasn't untouched. Enemy fighters broke through the shield layer, explosions rocked the engine bay, fires burst. Along the lower deck, Rourke winced as a blast shook the bridge. Damage on deck 17. Casualties confirmed. Lyra, now second in command, turned to him. We can't take many more hits like that. We won't have to, Rourke said. He looked at the AI core. I need you to trust me. We're going to overload the fusion rails and punch through the siege ship. You will not survive that, maybe not. But Earth will. The AI hesitated. Then the ship turned, its core brightened. Energy gathered at its rear engines, building rapidly. The Leviathan screamed forward, straight toward the enemy dreadnought. Alien ships tried to block it, firing, crashing, sacrificing themselves. It didn't matter. The ship burned through them like fire through paper. Rourke watched the screen as the target grew closer. Then he gave his final command. Now. Asterisk war in orbit. Leviathan tore through space like a burning spear. Its engines roared with overcharged energy. Its hull shimmered with power. Enemy ships scattered before it, too slow to dodge, too weak to stand. Rourke stared at the growing shadow ahead, the Imperial Siege dreadnought. It filled the screen now, stretching from one side to the other, like a wall in space. He had never seen anything this big, not even during the last war. Distance, 8,000 meters, the AI reported. Shields holding? Rourke asked. Barely. Fusion rails at 97%. Good. We'll hit them before they hit us. Suddenly, the enemy dreadnought came alive. Dozens of red eyes opened across its surface, spinning turrets, glowing cannons, and tentacle-like arms unfolded from the ship's belly. It wasn't just a ship. It was a space monster built by engineers who had forgotten what mercy meant. Brace for fire. Rourke shouted. The Leviathan was faster, but the Empire ship had more guns. More teeth. A storm of beams and missiles rushed toward them. On Leviathan's bridge, everything shook. A plasma shell hit the side deck. Lights blinked. Sparks flew. Smoke filled part of the control room. Hull breach on deck 12. Containment. Holding, Rourke gripped the edge of his chair. Redirect shield power. Focus front. Don't slow down. Impact in 5-foot boom. Another hit, this time near engineering. One of the fusion rails dropped by 15%. Alarms screamed. Lyra, sweating, called out from her console. We're losing stability, stay on target. Rourke snapped, we only get one shot. They were inside the enemy's range now, too close. For big guns, Rourke made his move. All forward weapons, fire everything, confirmed. The Leviathan unleashed chaos, missiles roared from its sides. Pulse beams shredded the space ahead, arc cannon struck the dreadnought's hull, melting armor. Blasting chunks away, one blast cracked open a hangar bay. A shockwave of air and bodies spilled into the black. For a moment, it worked, the siege. Dreadnought pulled back, the Empire fleet paused, confused, but then something changed. From the back of the dreadnought, a new structure rose, a spire, tall, narrow, glowing dark purple. The Leviathan's AI paused, warning, unknown energy. Signature, it's pulling gravitational mass. What does that mean? Rourke asked. It's creating a singularity, Lyra gasped. They're making a black hole, yes. They plan to collapse our section of orbit, with us inside it. There was no time. The energy readings spiked. Space began to ripple outside the ship, objects warped, stars bent. The Leviathan groaned, its hull screamed as gravity twisted around it. Engine burn, Rourke ordered, push us through, now, fusion overload at 100%, engaging. The ship launched forward again, straight into the storm of gravity. The enemy wasn't expecting it. Inside the dreadnought, alarms blared, Leviathan hit like a comet. It smashed into the outer shell, melted through to decks and pierced the internal core. Then Rourke gave the order he had kept inside since the beginning, detonate the Omega core. Lyra turned in shock, you'll destroy the ship, I know, Omega core armed. Countdown, 10-9. Rourke stood from his chair, Lyra, you and the crew, evacuate. Get to the escape pods, I'm not leaving you, you have. Earth needs someone to tell the story. Tears formed in her eyes, but she obeyed. One by one. Escape pods launched from the side of the Leviathan, shooting toward the edge of gravity's pull. The siege dreadnought tried to respond, but it was too late. The Leviathan's core glowed white, brighter than the sun. 3, 2, 1. The explosion didn't make sound, but it shook the stars. A wave of light tore through the enemy ship, ripping it apart from the inside. The black hole device cracked and collapsed into itself, taking the dreadnought and dozens of Empire ships with it. The Leviathan disappeared in the blaze, gone. The Empire fleet stopped, scanners went blind, their command ship was gone. Their signal tower destroyed. The survivors turned and fled, back on Earth. Every screen went dark. For 5 seconds, there was silence, then a message appeared, Lyra's voice from her escape pod. The Leviathan has done its duty, Earth is safe. Commander Rourke didn't run. Across the planet, people stood and watched. No more ships. No more attacks. Just a clear sky and a new name that would never be forgotten. One final command's lens returned to Earth. No alarms, no gunfire, no burning skies. Just the soft hum of wind moving across cities that had nearly vanished. Birds returned to broken trees. Families stepped outside their bunkers and looked upward. For the first time in days, the sky was empty, and that terrified everyone. Because the Leviathan was gone. In a recovery ship floating above the edge of the stratosphere. Lyra sat alone. Her escape pod had been picked up 2 hours ago. Her uniform was burned. Her hands still shook. She watched the stars through the glass wall. No one spoke to her. They all knew what she had done and what she had lost. Then her comlink beeped. Lieutenant Lyra. Earth Command requests a status update. She pressed the button and spoke slowly. Commander Rourke is gone. Leviathan is gone. But the dreadnought is destroyed, and the enemy, they ran. There was a pause. Then the voice replied, copy, Earth is safe, you did your duty, he did his, all over the world. Cities began to heal. Power was restored, communications came back online. Emergency teams were deployed to search for survivors in the ruins. In a shattered hospital in Nairobi, a boy who had never seen space before drew a picture of a red ship in his notebook. He wrote one word beneath it, hope. But far from Earth, in the empty silence of deep orbit, a satellite drifted, small, forgotten. Its cameras were still active, its lens still clean, and one day after the explosion, it caught something strange, a glowing object, falling slowly through space. Not a ship, a pod. Inside that pod was a man, unconscious, burned, but breathing. Commander Rourke floated in silence, and next to him, tucked into the corner of the capsule, was a black cube glowing faintly with blue light. Leviathan backup core, memory intact, back on Earth. Lyra stood before the United Earth Assembly. Leaders from every nation, every city, every colony watched her. No one interrupted. She held up a data drive in her hand. This is everything. The Leviathan saw every weapon, every maneuver, every sacrifice. She looked at the screen behind her. It showed a still image, Leviathan bursting through fire. Aimed directly at the enemy, she continued, voice steady, we were seconds from extinction. But one man didn't ask for orders, one ship didn't wait for permission, she paused, they gave us more than a victory, they gave us time. Monuments were built, not just for Rourke, but for everyone who stayed behind. For the engineers who built Leviathan in secret. For the cities that never fired a shot but never gave up. In Antarctica, where Leviathan had slept, a massive tower was raised from the ice, glowing red and silver, facing the stars. At its center, engraved in steel, were 5 words, Earth survives because we chose to. Years passed. Children studied the War of Orbit in school, military cadets memorized Leviathan's blueprints. The AI core became the model for Earth's new defense system, and though many ships were built after, each bore a piece of the original in its design, but none ever matched her. Named one night, far above the moon, a new ship was launched, smaller, sleeker, faster. Its name, Leviathan 2, and carved on its nose in glowing letters were the final words Commander Rourke spoke before he vanished into battle. We're not fighting for revenge. We're fighting because Earth is still worth it. The stars were quiet again, but this time Earth was ready.